People always ask, why did Michael Jordan decide to go play baseball? But have you ever asked yourself, why did he decide to stop playing baseball? Of course, his love for the game of basketball came back, but something had to happen first in order for him to want to return. First of all, what caused him to play baseball was a myriad of reasons. By 1993, he was at the pinnacle of the sport, and being an extremely popular celebrity was starting to become a little overwhelming for him, along with the questions about his gambling habits. And of course, the passing of his father played a big part in it as well, and wanted to honor him by playing baseball.
I guess in doing it now, it's like a thank you to him.
When Jordan retired in October of '93, viewership and interest in the NBA went down significantly, which is expected when the greatest player of all time just up and leaves. Believe it or not, people were already calling him the GOAT after just the first three-peat.
4 years ago, I was going into places like Chicago and Los Angeles and saying, Larry Bird is the best player I've ever seen, and they were throwing things at me, as you might imagine. Sitting here today, I don't think there's any question that Larry Bird certainly deserves to be mentioned in the same breath, as does Magic Johnson, with Michael Jordan, but I think at this point in time, Michael is the best basketball player that I've ever seen perform.
But considering what other players went on to accomplish, Jordan's resume would have already been passed up by now if he had decided to continue playing baseball rather than coming back. He said he would have kept playing baseball if this one thing didn't happen. You see, in 1994, there was a strike in Major League Baseball. This caused over 900 games to be canceled, with the MLB missing out on an entire postseason as a result. Jordan feared that he might become a replacement player during the strike, so he decided to quit baseball.
What was it that brought you back to the game?
If baseball didn't have the strike, I would have still been playing baseball at that time.
And it ended up playing a huge role in his decision to return.
And when I got back home, I was kind of inactive. I was really bored. So I went to the practice and I saw Scotty, I saw Phil, and saw all the old guys. And once I got out there and started practicing, that's when I felt like, okay, it's starting to come back. Here comes that love, here comes the competition, here comes that drive.
And that decision altered NBA history if you think about it. Let's ask ourselves, what would have happened if MJ never returned to the NBA in 1995? Well, I'll tell you one thing, Stockton and Malone definitely think about that a lot, as Jordan and the Bulls prevented them from winning a ring on multiple occasions by coming back. Their legacies would be a lot more respected had they won at least one championship. Same goes for Reggie Miller, who almost advanced to the NBA Finals in 1998, but fell short in Game 7. Who knows if Shaq would have stayed in Orlando had they made it to back-to-back NBA Finals, something that Jordan and the Bulls did not let happen. We can go on and on about what teams could have done if MJ didn't have a second stint in Chicago, but let's talk about MJ from an individual standpoint and how his personal career accomplishments would look like. If his career had officially ended in 1993, that would mean he would have 3 fewer rings, 3 fewer Finals MVPs, 2 fewer regular season MVPs, along with many other categories being drastically impacted as a result. All things that help MJ when it comes to the GOAT debate today, not looking as strong all of a sudden after doing this exercise, making other players' resumes look a lot better, closing the gap. 6-0 is always a go-to argument for Jordan stans, so just imagine not being able to use that when trying to defend him. 3-0 just doesn't quite have the same ring to it, or the same appeal as 6-0 does, and in turn, maybe he would just be looked at as a Magic or Bird type caliber player instead, which is not bad whatsoever. He just wouldn't be viewed as the undisputed GOAT, that's all. So him coming back is why his resume is so hard to catch now, as he went on to complete a second three-peat, making it more difficult for future players to make their case. I'm not sure if Jordan views it this way, but that MLB strike was certainly a blessing in disguise for the sake of his NBA career.